October 24. This big, fat, 345-pound man gets on a cruise ship. Instead of sitting there at the buffet and going crazy, eating every bloody thing in sight, he decides that he's going to lose some weight. So I started taking Monjaro in October, jump on the cruise, and I had 10 weeks booked and then an 11th week for something else. I said, all right, now what am I going to do? What's the plan to actually make this little adventure pay off in a healthy way? So what I did, I started on the Monjaro. It helps me out with just cutting back on all of the hunger and the pain and the frustration that's just associated with all the cravings, the sugar, the fat, the grease, everything that it is you want to eat when you're sitting, especially when you're surrounded on a cruise ship with all that ice cream and desserts and everything. Well, I said, no. I'm 60 years old now, and there's no friggin' way I'm going to be going up in weight. It's the heaviest, and I think it's time now. I got to drop 100 pounds. I know this because my blood tests, oh my God, it looked like I was going to be dead in a couple of years, according to everything that I was reading. It was just horrifying. So what I did is I actually used some very interesting little tricks that I made up as I was going along. So AI has come so far now that I figured I'd test out to see what its limits were. Every single meal, I sat down and I photographed the menu and I passed it on to ChatGPT. And I said, look, I want to lose a whole bunch of weight. I'm on Monjaro. This is what my blood pressure is. This is what my blood glucose is. I actually fit in all of my lab work. When I did that, it analyzed everything and then it basically told me what I should and should not eat and how much I should eat and what nutrients. And specifically, it really wanted me to go big on the protein and, of course, drop a lot of the carbs and the sugars and the stuff that normally is not even all that healthy for you anyway. But it's not about having, loss or suffering and sitting in your cabin and eating lettuce or, sure, you got to keep moving, you got to eat proper, and you want to eat a lot. Um, a lot of movement. But one of the other things I added was the time of day that I ate. I did what's known as a 14 to 18 hour fast. Some days I could go 18. Some days, I needed it. And on dive days, which I'll be talking a lot more about, there was no way that I could starve myself before diving. It's just unsafe and unhealthy. So anyway, ChatGPT did give me a lot of information. And when I listened to it, I felt great. My weight was going down. When I didn't listen to it, ooh, my digestion suffered and I had a hard time sleeping. And so I started to try to figure out what the hell? Why am I having such a bad reaction? Why is every single cruise that I've been on, I've had digestive issues and lots of problems, specifically the runs. And what I found out was when I okay, this is what you call a FYI. So, just accept it and try it yourself. It's really important that we are really well connected and well versed on what's going on in our bodies and use whatever tools we can. So I photographed my poop. Yes, I did. And I had ChatGPT analyze it, and it told me something that I had no idea. Fat absorption was my issue. Fat was going through my system so fast that it wasn't getting absorbed properly, and the bile was building up and it wasn't getting reabsorbed. So I ended up with a lot of loose bowels and a lot of pain. So I started cutting back on that, even the good fats, even though it's all the diets say you should, take some good fats too, like guacamoles and stuff. And I love guacamole. Hey, I could eat avocado 4 times a day, but everything in moderation, as they always say. And spend a lot of time walking around the ship. And of course, that's something you're going to do anyways on a cruise. And of course, I started taking up diving. I'm going to talk a lot more about the diving because that really made a difference in my life. But long story short, I started at 3:45 and October 24th. I came home March 4th. And so that was in total about 11, 12 weeks, maybe 303.8 pounds. I feel great. And I did the lab work. I'll, put up something to show you guys what my actual lab results were. But I basically reversed diabetes, got rid of the fatty liver. The 40 pounds really made a big difference. And of course, my diet is so much different now. So I feel fantastic. And I'll give you a lot more details in the next episode.